Four ordinary guys with extraordinary ideas for Disney parks. This is Main Street Musings,
the experimental podcast of tomorrow.
Hello and welcome to Main Street Musings, the experimental podcast of tomorrow. I'm Tanner, and joining me today is Order Up, Eric.
What up?
Are you still looking at the menu, Jake?
Hey there, hi there, ho there.
And he'll always take your side of coleslaw, Barack.
Why does no one else like coleslaw? This is straight from our real lives.
Coleslaw.
Whenever we go out and everyone's like, ew, coleslaw, I'm like, give me all of that, please.
Wait, people don't like coleslaw?
Yeah.
Coleslaw's amazing.
The good half of this podcast, apparently.
All of my friends, whenever went out 2 years ago, would be like, ew, this comes with coleslaw.
Really? Coleslaw's the best.
I got a lot of free coleslaw, I'm not gonna lie.
I guess saying like it's gross is maybe an overstating it, but it's like really mayonnaise heavy. None of the stuff in it has a lot of flavor. Like,
maybe you just never had good coleslaw.
Yeah.
Because I've been to places and had coleslaw and it's been like what you're describing and that's gross. But I've been to other places that has like, you have to have good coleslaw. There's a difference. There's a big difference.
well, having never had good coleslaw, in all of my experiences with bad coleslaw, I don't ever care to have it again. I don't like, it's not like I'm not motivated at this point in my life to have good coleslaw.
And anyway, this, as you may have guessed, is our all coleslaw episode of Main Street Musings.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Like, what a great intro. Let's just talk about coleslaw.
Oh, and by the way, the gentleman who gave the introductions is named Tanner.
I said my name.
Oh, I wasn't sure if I cut you off before you had the chance.
No, he said it first. So far, the only person who has failed to introduce themselves during an episode is Brock.
Yeah. Like, at least twice.
And he said, and
Yeah.
I'm coleslaw.
I just get so excited, gang.
Okay, and what are you excited about?
I'm excited about Main Street Musings.
I meant, what's the episode today? Somebody say it.
Oh, this restaurant is about episodes.
Our poor audience. Yes.
Nice.
I quit.
Like Tanner tried to say, this is an episode all about new restaurants that we're going to pitch that we'd like to see added to the parks.
We actually have gotten a lot of requests to do a restaurant episode.
It's something I think we've always wanted to do. It's just we always had other like ride ideas that we put into episodes. So I'm glad that we're finally getting around to it.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I mean, we've mentioned it.
We have certainly pitched restaurants in the past, just not necessarily
in lightning rounds, and we did do the stage and theater episode. I think ended up turning into a dinner theater, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I pitched a restaurant in Atlantis. I think a couple others were pitched throughout. But I think it's really exciting that we're going to have a dedicated episode.
Yes,
So let's not
absolutely.
forget the Hades Lounge, the most talked about
Of
single
course.
thing in any episode
Ever.
we've done.
The most referenced fictional location ever.
Yes,
Yeah, I'm excited. It should be fun. I like food. I like restaurants. It should be
me
good.
too.
All right.
And I can't wait to discuss the hours of operation and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I can't wait to discuss seating occupancy.
Yeah, scheduling the wait staff.
All right, well, let's get into it, boys.
Yeah.
I will be kicking it off for us today.
All right.
So, my restaurant is themed after everybody's favorite orangutan, Mr. King Louie.
All right. Nice.
From the Jungle Book series, drawing a very small amount of inspiration from the fact that he runs like a aviators club in DuckTales, or not DuckTales, Tailspin, which is amazing. Also,
okay.
super random that he's there. It's because like there's Baloo from Jungle Book, and then like he's the guy who runs the bar, and then Shere Khan shows up in like one episode in a suit. And it's like
Tailspin is a bonkers show.
But it's so good. Anyway, that's my little aside pro Tailspin. It's not going to be like the Tailspin restaurant, but it draws some inspiration from there. I want it to be King Louis' Tiki Bar / Jazz Lounge. It's got that a sort of a rainforest cafe feel on like the decor. We're in a jungle. There's lots of like wooden bamboo kind of structures that are holding everything up like a tiki bar might. A lot of that kind of palm frondage, but pulling from King Louis' sort of suave joie de vivre. The live performance music would be like a jazz band kind of stuff. And I envision sort of two sections to the restaurant. There's like a lounge that's mostly cocktails, appetizers, that kind of feel to it. And then attached, and that's kind of the jazz lounge section, which is more adulty. But obviously, like, kids can hang out there. They can get their Shirley Temples and their virgin pina coladas and stuff and sip on those. Make them feel fancy.
I'm sorry. What about drinking Shirley Temples makes one a kid?
Nothing. I get them all the time.
Yes, so do I.
They're really good. It just feels awkward at a restaurant sometimes to be 32 and be like, hey, I'd like a Shirley Temple. I almost just ask you for like a Sprite with grenadine. And then
you got to own it, Eric. Just stand up and shout it as loud as you can.
The second section would be the more fully operate, like family. This is a restaurant kind of section, and that would be fully immersed in the jungle alongside of it. And I kind of see the jazz lounge as like a lagoon of the jungle. We have maybe an animatronic of Louis wearing some sunglasses, introducing people, stuff like that. Nice. I envision this in more of a downtown Disney Springs location than I do within the confines of the park themselves.
Gotcha.
I know that there's a rainforest in both Disney Springs and downtown Disney. So I don't want I'd want them to be separated by some. The aesthetics would be very different once we get down to talking about it, but that's just an entrance point into this is sort of what it feels like, right?
Well, I mean, we're talking Disney, we're talking themed restaurants. I mean, it's all going to be within that same oeuvre. Yeah. Disney does themed restaurants better than anyone, and I think Rainforest Cafe is really the only semi-successful one outside of Disney. Yeah. So I think, you're going to get that, and I don't think that's going to be an issue.
Cool. So that's my pitch. Louis' Tiki Bar, Jazz Lounge, Family Restaurant.
All right. I like it. Very cool.
I like it too, Jake. Next up we got Tanner.
Okay, so for my restaurant, I'm not going to be taking inspiration from a classic Disney film. Instead, I will be trying to add something onto my favorite Disney ride. We're going to be adding a restaurant to the Tower of Terror. So we are talking about the Hollywood Hotel is going to be getting a brand new restaurant. I want to keep some of the same strong aesthetics that are in the line queue of like this beautiful, glamorous 1930s Hollywood hotel that's all of a sudden just vanquished and appears empty. I'm picturing we'll have an indoor dining area and then an outdoor dining area. I'd love to keep up with like things just look like they disappeared suddenly. Chess games is unfinished. I'd love for there to be like a dusty string quartet instruments just on a blank stage. So we're mixing like this nice glamour with the cool, I find relaxing theming of the Tower of Terror with like that haunting 1930s jazz music. I see Eric's face. I'm talking about up into the queue and stuff. Okay. I find very relaxing. Not the ride itself. Although
I think you're missing the point.
Sidetrack. I find that feeling of that drop in your stomach very smooth, very soothing. So, but I'm thinking more just like that walkway up with like the overgrown plants and a little bit of mist and everything like that. I think would be a super cool area to just create a restaurant. So that's my pitch.
And that's like part of like the draw to noir theming is that it brings you in and it feels very chill, and then all of a sudden it's not. I think that's great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Having a restaurant with them. All right. I'm going to let the Gabberts choose amongst themselves. No, I'm kidding. That would take fucking forever. Jake, you're up next.
Why? We have a system, man.
We'll make them fight. Yeah, the system's called Eric Decides. I mean, rolls a pyramidal object.
Once we're doing this in person again, we can keep him straight.
Every time.
Yes.
For the
we know,
lightning
Eric.
round.
We know.
Yeah, I do.
So who's up? I
Jake.
didn't hear after all that. Oh, okay. All right, so my restaurant is kind of inspired from an old Disney idea that never came to be, and that was the Muppet restaurant. It was called Gonzo's Pandemonium Pizza Parlor or something along those lines, which never got built, and instead we got the lame-o Pizza Planet that sucked. And then that got rethemed recently as Pizza Rizzo to kind of be more like the Muppets, but it doesn't have any of the original cool stuff. So this original restaurant was going to have like Muppet animatronics and all kinds of crazy things going on in the restaurant. It was supposed to be like Gonzo owned it. I kind of want to bring that back and explore some of the stuff we could do with it. I want to talk about maybe the Swedish chef is involved and we can hear or see him maybe on a video screen. It looks like we're looking into the kitchen and seeing him cooking. I want random conveyor belts around bringing food, kind of like I've seen in some like Japanese restaurants, they have those conveyor belts that go around with food on them. But maybe we have like animatronics of Rizzo or something, like cranking the handle to make it look like he's controlling them, and just all kinds of wacky, crazy Muppet fun. And I also think it might be cool if there was a stage and maybe the Muppets, I don't know if it would be animatronics. I don't want it to be like a Chuck E. Cheese, where they're on the stage performing, but it would be cool if there was a... nothing against Chuck E. Cheese. I'm just saying Disney is a higher quality than Charles Entertainment Cheese. And I was thinking it might be fun to have some sort of...
Wow.
Yes.
Yes.
32
His name
years.
is Charles Entertainment Cheese.
32 years and 200 and something days, and here we are.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Makes so much...
I remember on Defunct Land, that was pretty big news when he kind of made that a well-known fact. But I actually remember reading that in an Uncle John's bathroom reader when I was like 8 years old. You guys remember those books?
They're great.
Anyway, that's my pitch. Muppets restaurant, crazy, wacky fun, as Brock would say.
I think sounds great. Next up, we have the last, but certainly not least, Brock Gabbert.
All right. So my pitch is going to be based on a classic Disney film and it's kind of pop culture iconic even beyond Disney, which is going to be Alice in Wonderland. I'd like to create a Wonderland themed restaurant. I think it'd be neat to divide it into different areas, much like the Be Our Guest restaurant in Fantasyland. So those areas would be the tea room, which would essentially be the mad tea party scene from the film. Everything is wild, crazy. You're having tea with the Mad Hatter and the March Hare. There'd be mismatched chairs. All the furniture would look different and be strange shapes. The tableware would all be mismatched. There'd be giant hats and teacups and tea cakes throughout the area. The second area would be the Court of Hearts, which would be the royal court of the Queen of Hearts. We'd get a lot of playing card aesthetic, those flamingos, lots of fun topiary hedges, much like in the movie. And the third would be the gardens, which would sort of be the exterior, the just wandering around Wonderland that you see in the movie, with those strange psychotropic colors. There'd be giant mushrooms, the flowers from the movie. I think it'd be fun to have animatronics of those, as well as the caterpillar on top of the mushroom.
Yeah.
I think another fun aesthetic touch would be throughout the time you were there, you see the Cheshire Cat smile appearing and disappearing in different places all over the restaurant. And I think this would be a perfect restaurant to have some English-inspired food. You have tea, finger sandwiches. You can have like Cornish game hens, all that kind of like small fowl that they did in the time. It's all going to be, which Eric is making a face. I don't know if he's ever had Cornish game hen, but it's good as hell.
But I think we'll get there when you just like when you're saying English food forward. I'm like, I have thoughts. We'll get there later.
No,
Gordon Shanahan's
the
incredible.
good stuff.
Yeah, there is
The
good
good stuff.
English food. But when my initial reaction is like, we're gonna do it like the UK, and I'm like,
The classy stuff from that era, the Jane Austen kind of like.
We have to eat Jane Austen books?
Yeah, you have to eat Jane Austen.
I said books.
Whoa, you said books.
I didn't hear him say books.
Okay, Army Hammer. Let's
Take it easy, Lone Ranger.
But yeah, so that is my pitch.
Cool. Very, very cool.
Neat.
Again, I feel like everybody's bringing it recently, and I don't like it. It makes my brain hurt.
I have a question for Jake.
What was that?
I have a question for Jake, though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're just driving right in. Go for it.
Yeah. So you're going to fire Rizzo from his restaurant and evict him so you can make him work a conveyor belt at a different restaurant?
Absolutely, yes.
Good.
Yeah. What did he say now? He had gumption. He stuck by it. He owned it. This is a good answer.
Okay, I have one question for all three of you, which, what kind of food are you all serving?
Oh, for sure. I didn't know if this was something that we were going to be discussing.
It's a restaurant, why not?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think of mine as sort of a higher end American. So like for like appetizers, we're looking at like calamari. Like you ever get those like fancy fucking pizza bite things at Hot Cat?
No, I haven't.
They're so good. The meathead pizza rolls. Oh, they're amazing.
Hopcat, give us money.
Yes, please. For everybody not in West Michigan. So yeah, like upper end American for me.
Cool.
Tanner, you want to go next?
Mine is, I'm thinking I want some upper end American options, but I also want to, since we're going to be in the parks, provide some lighter options. I kind of took the approach of looking at like the Plaza restaurant in Magic Kingdom, where you do have some nicer options, but you also have a lot of things like light sandwiches to keep things light for people who are going to be in a park, especially one that involves a giant drop tower ride that people would possibly get on right after boarding or after eating at a restaurant.
Yeah. For me, I think it would be kind of, again, you want to stick with foods that people are going to be comfortable having, but I think it would be kind of fun if the Muppet restaurant was kind of a hodgepodge of different foods and ethnicities and stuff. Just like the Muppets are just like anything they think would be good, they just like threw at this menu.
Like and the Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah, and maybe some of the dishes are themed. Like maybe we could have like New Zealand's, fish and chips or something like that, or it's kind of themed to him. And I think the presentation of the food too, if we could make it look wacky or cartoony in some way, but still appealing. I don't know. We could talk about how that would be, but that just might be fun to explore.
All right,
Brock. Same question.
English foods, nasty ones.
That.
Oh, that's
soggy
right,
English food.
I just didn't want it to be true, so I'm asking again. Have you reconsidered?
It can be good. There's good stuff.
Tanner, I have a question.
Okay. Yeah, no, go ahead.
Tanner, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Is there... I think your idea is incredible. Is there room to incorporate it into the attraction itself? Because I feel like either somewhere to like view to get a view of that either while you're like on the ride or in the queue, I think would be super cool. an elevated
I've looked.
experience?
I think it would be cool to kind of restructure at least the queue line to where they're near each other, so you can kind of see where the entranceway to go to like
Sure.
maybe a back terrace of it works. There's so much mechanical stuff in the building itself that I felt like it would be an uncomfortable like to build in the existing building. So I was thinking in the back you add this on. But with that said, you can knock out the back wall of some of it and kind of give peeks into what's going on behind.
Yeah, peaks is kind of what I was thinking, but
That being said, isn't the whole story of the queue that this is a abandoned hotel and there's not a trace of life here? So if you turn a corner and you just see like a family from Iowa eating chicken fingers,
I think it'd be kind of eerie. Like I'm thinking like what Tanner's saying, like very small peaks. Like you see a waiter like go through a door, right? Like things like that, and you're like, well, what was that? There's not supposed to be anybody here, kind of thing. Might be interesting. I don't know.
I think seeing employees like in the back might be fun because I mean, to be fair, you also see a bunch of bellhops that aren't technically, if it was abandoned, would be there either.
Yeah, but I still feel like those, are part of the story. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not sold either way. I think that's something we could really hammer out because my initial thought was to kind of still keep it like where you're not seeing as much of people around. But I also think there's merit to both.
Yeah.
So I have a question for Tanner.
Yes.
So the queue of the Tower of Terror is kind of what you're inspired by, right?
Yes.
So that's all dusty and full of cobwebs. And do you think there's a possibility that would put people off of their food?
Well, I think you keep the tables clean, right?
Well, yeah,
but,
obviously
the windows
you keep the
and
tables
stuff.
clean.
I mean, people aren't dumb, so they'll know what it looks like.
Have you met people? I work retail. People are dumb.
I don't think it's any more off-putting than eating in, say, a jungle rainstorm.
All right.
Cool.
I do, but all right. And
well,
Eric,
I think English people are off-putting, and that's your whole theme.
That's true. That is true. English people. Eric, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So King Louis, you said like an animatronic. This is his place. Will he constantly be pressuring guests into teaching him how to make fire?
Not in my. He'll be a little more welcoming. This is Louis post his discovery of how to make fire.
Gotcha.
I do imagine him inviting people up onto the stage, right? So like there's like an animatronic or something that represents him, but like a live person who controls his voice. I think would be really
kind of like the Mr. Potato Head animatronic. Yeah.
Oh,
so he
okay.
can like try and bring up, like kids to like, hey, come up and dance with him and swing on the jazz or whatever. And I think that would be super fun. So in that sense, he will interact with the audience. Yes.
Sorry, just so I understand, are you thinking like Mr. Potato Head where it's like pre-programmed responses that somebody chooses, or more like Turtle Talk with Crush where it's somebody in another room with a microphone like doing the voice?
My initial impression is more like Turtle Talk with Crush.
Okay.
Yeah, and it depends. I'm not up on how animatronics, like I'm sure they can do incredible things, but I guess in my head when I was designing it, I was thinking closer to like an Audrey 2 puppet work than I was necessarily like an animatronic.
The greatest puppet of all time.
Right. But we could look into what an animatronic version of that would look like, or a puppet, if we get in there, figure out which one's better based on what's available to us now.
All right.
So, quick question for Jake. You mentioned briefly like a cartoon feel to the food. What are your initial thoughts on what that would look like? Because I want to be able to see it.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, if not necessarily cartoon, maybe that was the wrong word to use, but like lots of bright colors. Maybe the plates are wacky shapes and wacky colors. Maybe if you get a pizza, the pepperoni is in like, maybe it's not round pepperoni. Maybe they're like square or triangle, or maybe the pepperoni is arranged in the shape of Gonzo or Kermit, or just little things like that. Sure. Or maybe like if you get the burger, how sometimes you go to a restaurant and they might have a brand on the bun, like they'll brand their logo onto the bun. Maybe
like
there's
Disney
like a brand of, Do they do it at Disney?
They do it on some of the burgers. They brand a big old Mickey Mouse head on it.
All right, cool. So maybe we do like some sort of Muppet brand, you know. That's the kind of stuff I was thinking.
Okay. Cool.
Brock, are you worried all the beheadings may put your guest off from eating dinner there?
We're painting the roses red.
Like if I'm having like
the roses
a
red.
Louis animatronic, do you have a white queen or a red queen just screaming off with their heads the whole time?
No.
No.
Is my answer is no.
You don't have like a very, and this is a pretty English dish, by the way, like a boar's head. You don't have like boars being chopped live in front of your audience like a Red Lobster and having it say off with your head.
Interesting.
Wait, would you get to go pick your boar
You
out
pick
of the
your
pen?
boar, it's dead. It's not alive. You still name it, but it's not alive.
And then you shout off with its head.
Yeah, and then you watch it get guillotined.
See, I know what's going to happen here, which is in the voting.
what's gonna happen
everyone's
is you're
going to
gonna
be
have
like,
PETA up your
Brock,
ass."
why did you suggest killing boars in the restaurant? I won't vote for yours now. The answer is no.
I'm just saying boar's head is a very English dinner, and you could incorporate it thematically. That's all I'm saying.
Will you be serving boar's head regardless of whether the boars
No.
are slaughtered?
I will not be serving boar's head. I don't want any visible animal heads in a child's theme park restaurant.
Oh, Brock, I cannot remember. Did you say where you'd have yours located?
I didn't. So I think Fantasyland would obviously be a good choice. That being said, it does have a similar type of restaurant in Be Our Guest. I still think Fantasyland's going to be the best bet. Perhaps put it in Disneyland, where Be Our Guest isn't.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Otherwise, if we're trying to get logistical and there's just not space in Fantasyland, I do think it'd be a fun way to expand the England Pavilion in Epcot.
Okay. Yeah, since we're just fucking throwing IP into World Showcase now.
But like, at least Alice in Wonderland is like important to English culture, unlike all the other IP they're throwing everywhere.
Right.
The guy who wrote it was
Right.
a creeper, right? Or is that somebody else?
I think you're thinking of J.M. Barrie.
Yeah.
Of Jamberry?
I
I think Lewis Carroll. There is a few like allegations, but I think they were never proven.
Cool.
I think Lewis Carroll was a weird ass guy.
Right,
I
as long
don't
as
know.
he's-
Yeah, I think for him it was more drugs.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
for
was-
sure.
Yeah, he was more into like opiates
Love
and
drugs
stuff.
also explains a lot of Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah. Plus, it was all like allegories and stuff.
Yeah.
You ready to vote?
Yeah, I think I'm ready to
It's
vote.
the part where we vote. Great, Jake. You volunteered to go first.
Okay. Well, good segue. I am absolutely in love with this fantastical Wonderland idea. And in fact, I was having an idea for a Wonderland restaurant, and I went to write it on the sheet, and I saw that Brock had already written it on the sheet. And Brock's idea is way better than what I had originally imagined. So I'm going to have to vote for Brock's Alice in Wonderland restaurant.
Go Beans. Brackalaka.
This is tough. This is a really tough one because I've got some great options in front of me. I think
What can I fix?
My dirty ass restaurant's the answer to that.
I think I'm gonna go Muppets just because they're the Muppets and I love talking about the Muppets.
Cool.
Okay.
Sienna.
Cool.
I am going to vote for King Louis because I'm a sucker for any sort of place that reminds me of the Rainforest Cafe.
All right. I was very tempted to go with the Tower. So, this is going to sound like a strange criticism. It's not a criticism at all. It's actually something I really love about it. I feel the correct scope of your idea, Brock, is bigger than a restaurant. In terms of like the Wonderland, what I see of like the 3 fully fleshed out Wonderland zones, I view like one of them as a restaurant, and other than like when I see it in my head, it's this giant complex, like a full Wonderland experience.
I think, Eric, you might be over imagining it because I didn't get that vibe at all. I was kind of thinking more like Be Our Guest, which has 3
I've never
separate
been
dining
in Be Our
rooms.
Guest, so I don't have that perspective.
Well, I haven't either, but I've watched lots of like video walkthroughs of it and stuff, and it's literally just 3 big dining rooms, and each one has its own specific theme.
Yeah, that is more what I was going for.
Okay, well, Jake,
So it's almost like imagine like Rainforest Cafe,
I'm
but
gonna
like
vote for
3.
yours. Now you're trying to get me to vote for Brock's, and I don't understand.
Oh, thanks, Eric.
I was just trying to defend Brock.
I don't do ties anymore.
I'll keep my mouth shut. Sorry,
Coward.
I'll keep my mouth shut.
You coward.
No, fine. Fine. I will go with my gut instinct, and I will go with the Tower of Terror.
Okay, well, who's gonna change their vote?
Ugh, God, no roll.
Can't believe I bullied
I had to
Eric
change
into
my vote
this.
last time.
You did. You actually did bully me into it.
Eric Hand and Marty McFly are very similar in that if you call them scared or a chicken, they will do whatever you want.
All right. Brock, you have to change your vote.
Okay. In that case, I will vote for King Louis.
Well, that's Aladdin. But thank you. I was trying to do a horn.
Well done.
Thank you.
Eric, you
All
really
right.
ruined us being able to cheer for you with that.
Did I? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you did pretty much a womp 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 for yourself.
It was like I was trying to do like the intro melody of like the win it nan win it nan like from Never Had a Friend Like Me from Aladdin, and then I realized that had nothing to do with King Louis, so I stopped.
Well, I'm surprised you didn't just insert him into that, like a tailspin.
Sure. So like I was saying, this is in my opinion more of a Downtown Disney or a Disney Springs attraction. Kind of offset. Again, most of my perspective is Downtown Disney. I have been to the Orlando version, but I don't know it nearly as well. I don't know the layout
And
nearly
it's
as well.
changed a lot, I think,
Yeah.
probably since you've been there last.
Yeah, 2004 or something like that. So it's probably been quite the makeover since then. There's a section of Downtown Disney that has like a Hard Rock Cafe and a couple things that are like lifted in like a 2-story kind of plaza. I think
I think you're thinking of Planet Hollywood, but yeah.
No, it's a Hard Rock. I've seen shows there. So I saw Motorhead.
Oh, are you
there.
talking about Disneyland?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. No, I thought you were back on Disney World.
This
Yeah,
is
sorry,
Eric,
continue.
the Californian, speaking.
I thought he had said Disney World. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. So there's kind of this terrace that has a bunch of cool restaurants and clubs that are sort of lifted, like 2 stories of them. I think this would be a cool one to have on one of the bottom stories there. This is sort of like stretches out into like there's like a movie theater and AMC on one side and like a Lego store over there. So kind of on that side over there by that.
Cool.
Operating hours 11 to 10 strictly. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. We all know we're gonna figure that one out together.
Oh yeah.
Also, Eric, side note, they closed the Rainforest Cafe at the Downtown Disney there, so it is
Oh,
perfect.
yeah.
You don't even have to compete. I know you said it's not the same
Right.
aesthetically, but you're the only jungle-themed restaurant in town now.
Hell yeah. Love it. Yeah, I think it'd be kind of fun even maybe if it occupied 2 stories, both stories of one of those buildings. We have the upper floor kind of be the jungle leading us into the family style restaurant and then go downstairs into the lagoon where it's more of the jazz lounge feel. Like I was saying, probably mid to upper tier American food, sandwiches, salads, things that have that kind of California joie de vivre. It's the second time I've used joie de vivre today.
Honestly, this time was a lot smoother on the pronunciation, so
Thank
hats
you.
off to you,
I
buddy.
appreciate it. But vegan options, gluten-free options is going to be a big deal in that kind of thing. And then the lower portion will, like I said, focus more on like a lounge feel to it. So it'll be set up like a cocktail, like a cocktail bar, and that's where you can have some alcoholic beverages and watch some live jazz and have there's a dancing space out there, and that would be full of like a lot of blue tones, bluish kind of feel to it, nice and cool, and have like a mist effect that sort of almost feels like a smoke kind of wrapping around you as you're in the jungle swamps.
Can I make a couple suggestions here?
Absolutely.
One, I'm sure this is what you mean, but it hasn't been outright said. I think this really needs to be the way to distinguish it from Rainforest Cafe, make it its own cool, interesting thing, is to really focus on the fact that King Louis lives in those ancient temples.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, which I assumed you meant. But also, I think this would be better suited to Animal Kingdom in Asia.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking it would be a good Animal Kingdom fit myself.
Okay. I am up for whatever, wherever you guys
It would
think
kind of
fits.
blend into the park in a really beautiful way. And then, like, if you are sitting on a terrace or kind of a balcony area out in a lounge, you're surrounded by this actual wildlife, like the actual trees. You can maybe look out and see the tigers.
I love that. I think that's great.
Yeah.
I think that's an excellent idea.
Because I'm looking at pictures of the ruins right now, and by golly, it looks like a lot of things straight out of Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, and I love the refocus into the ruins of where he lives more than the jungle feel of it. That is probably just the hundreds of times I've been... hundreds. Like 10,
Thousands.
12 times.
I was going to say, yeah.
Probably more than I have fingers. Times I've been to the Rainforest Cafe, influencing like what I view of that kind of restaurant, right? But I do, particularly the one in Disneyland had a lot of Mayan ruiny things going on there too. I think that's a great idea. Shifting it to Animal Kingdom, I love the idea of being able to see the live animals around. We can, tigers, big cats. I think would be kind of fun.
Also, I would say you were talking about a King Louis animatronic. I think a perfect thing to do would, in the movie, he has that really cool ornate stone throne that he sits on. Have him sitting on that, and kind of interacting with the people who walk past him. Maybe it's like up on a bit of a plinth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be sweet. What do you guys think in terms of mechanical versus puppetry?
Well, mechanical would be able to be there 24/7. Puppetry, it's only going to be out at certain times, more like a dinner show.
Yeah, and it's also not going to look as real.
Sure.
And it's usually going to need a few people to operate. So I would definitely say animatronic.
So, yeah, I mean, it depends on which way you want to lean, because puppetry would be fine, but again, that might be more for like a dinner show, like with a set schedule, where we're going to do a show at 8, a show at 10, because you also wouldn't want to be there if he's not there.
Yeah, right. No, I view him as omnipresent, for sure.
Yeah.
I think we all view King Louis as omnipresent in our own lives.
I close my eyes and he's there, gently scatting me to sleep.
Why is he pooping on you?
No, guys!
Ew.
I was waiting for it. I saw their faces. I knew it was coming.
I'm taking the high road on this one.
Scatting you to sleep.
Well, and if you watch the Imagineering story and stuff, the realism they can get with those animatronics, facial
Yeah, especially
Stuff-
nowadays.
Oh
is,
yeah,
would be
absolutely.
super cool, even if it was like mic'd up to a person. I feel like there's a way to in our Blue Sky control that so it's like lip syncing,
Yeah.
lip sync
Well,
perfectly
and
to
with-
that.
With King Louis too, because he's the orangutan, or I'm not sure how to pronounce that word. He's got almost like
Orangutan.
the muzzle, almost like beak. So even if you just had that kind of flapping, it
Yeah.
doesn't have to necessarily be completely articulate, and it would still be believable.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I think that's great. And I'm sure you could program it to open whilst like a controller was talking, right? I think that'd be cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then like you don't always have to have the controller, but that can be something that comes in for fun interaction specific times. And then maybe just have
Yeah.
like a set script that he goes through at most points of the day.
Right.
I think that's fine.
Right, and just little side jokes where he could just kind of point at certain people, and like I know when you go see Turtle Talk with Crush, he refers to the kids as the little dudes.
Yeah.
And then when he describes the kid, like when I saw him, he said the little dude with the striped shell, referring to the kid's striped shirt. Just like fun little things like that would kind of fit into his slang and vocabulary.
Well, he'd probably call kids man cub.
Yeah, exactly. The little man cub with the blue loincloth. Like, I don't know.
With the blue pelt.
But yeah, I think that would be cool. And do you have thoughts, Eric? I can't remember if you said it or not, about Baloo or Bagheera making a cameo appearance at any point in the restaurant?
I had not mentioned. I would love that for that to be the case.
You know how Bagheera kind of lays on the branch, like lazily flicking his tail?
That's what I was picturing. Like maybe you see him just like somewhere up high, and every now and then he just kind of rolls his eyes at the stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
Or you see him just kind of like putting his head in his hands, like he does, like, oh, I can't believe this is happening.
It'd also be kind of cool.
Oh no, please finish.
I was gonna say it'd be kind of cool to like subtly have Ka wrapped up somewhere.
Yeah.
Or have Ka drop down on unsuspecting tables and scare the shit out of people.
Trust
Yeah, I think now that we've moved it to Animal Kingdom, I'm much more like lined up with the idea of leaning into like the Jungle Book, right? As opposed to just like a jazz lounge that is semi-themed.
Jungle-y.
I think that leaning fully into that Jungle Book thing could be fun, and we could use some like Bagheera and Baloo animatronics to even like sing some jazz tunes. I think that would be kind of fun too. I think Bagheera would be a sultry ass jazz singer. You know what I'm saying?
Bagheera?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he'd be great.
Yeah, yeah.
I am just picturing them singing old jazz standards though, and that's very fun.
Yeah, it is. It's
Well, and I
fun.
do have to say, I absolutely love Phil Harris's voice.
Yeah.
Like, just what a great voice.
Shame he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we going to talk about the necromancy required to get him back on this project, or like
For Phil Harris, worth it.
Along your lines, though, Eric, you're talking about this being a jazz club. I kind of think that would work with the story. Like, this takes place after the events of Jungle Book, and all the characters, it's like, now that Man Cub's gone, they don't really have any reason to hate each other anymore. King Louie's not trying to get fire from him anymore, so I don't see why they wouldn't just be hanging out together.
absolutely.
I also like the idea that the reason King Louie was trying to get fire was so he could open a restaurant where he could cook food.
That was his whole reason for wanting fire.
I think we could even like make Baloo the centerpiece of the top level. That's a little more family friendly, right? Like that could be Baloo's contribution to the overall event, and then King Louie has his lounge, right?
Will Baloo be wearing his disguise? Yay or nay?
I was literally just thinking about that. I think nay, because they're friends
in front
now.
of me again.
He has the coconut on his face to simulate the monkey snout.
No. No.
Yeah, we're going to go with no.
Yeah. We are not
I had a feeling you would be against that.
even going to touch the potential for that going sideways. I think just him, even just naked the day he was born. Big old bear is just fine. better than the coconut.
Okay.
All
right.
He could be wearing like a smock, which would be kind of fun, or like a chef's outfit, which would be cute as well.
Like an apron?
Yeah. And I know that this isn't super important, but I do feel like it is sort of a staggered hours of operation where like you have like the top half opens up earlier, maybe serves breakfast and into lunch, right? That would be where
You
you
can do
go.
your character dining.
Yeah.
Maybe you can do some character breakfasts or something.
Yeah. And then as it hits like closer to the evening time, like 4 or 5, the lounge might open up or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Though now that we're in Animal Kingdom and you can do animal like viewings, maybe that doesn't play as well because you'd be wanting to do that at any given point of the day.
I mean, it's Disney. You can drink at 11 a.m. Like,
It's fair. It opens up together.
yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say
It's in the parks.
Jackie
you know?
and I went to the cantina at like 8 a.m. when we were there.
Yeah.
That's insane. I am not enough of a morning person to get to like let's go to Galaxy's Edge at 7:30.
Oh, dude. I'm insane.
I hate mornings. I am not a morning person, but for Disney, I would do it. And have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of mornings, but I am a fan of getting up early so I can get my day started. I think, as you guys know, that's usually I'm up and about by 8 a.m. even on Saturday. But especially at Disney, like I have never missed a rope drop.
Yeah.
If I'm going to the park for the day, I am there at rope drop. Usually about an hour before rope drop, just waiting.
Gotta get the extra
Never
magic
been there
hours,
for a rope
baby.
drop.
We went to Disney with our aunt once. Jake and I, our parents weren't able to go, and she was like, you know
She
what?
likes sleeping in.
Tomorrow we're just gonna sleep in, and like we'll maybe get to the parks like whenever we feel like, maybe around like 3. And Jake and I are like, so we're gonna wake up by ourselves and go to rope drop, right?
Yeah, Brock and I were just like had like this panicked like, okay, well then I guess we're going to the parks without you then. Bye. Like,
And
we
you
just
know what?
couldn't comprehend
We
that.
got to go on Toy Story Midway Mania, and she didn't.
We did.
Wow. Way to brag to your
If you're
aunt.
listening, love you, Auntie.
Way to bully your aunt on our podcast, dude.
We love you.
I mean, she had a great time too, but we win.
Yeah, of course. Because it was a competition.
Yes.
Disney's always a competition.
So, anywho, back to the hours of operation.
Yeah, of course. Eric, how are you feeling about your restaurant so far? Have we missed anything?
I think it's cool. I was actually just about to ask that. I don't know if there's necessarily a ton else to talk about. There would obviously be like specialty cocktails that we could theme towards the Jungle Book.
Oh, of course.
But,
yeah.
yeah, as a sober person, I don't necessarily want to spend a ton of time in the minutia of the specialty cocktails.
No, yeah.
I got you.
No.
Yeah.
And Jake and I don't drink, so we
All
literally
we
have
need
nothing to offer
to know
anyway.
is that there's something
Right.
bright and colorful themed to Ka's eyes.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Boom.
I mean, what do you guys
Lock
think? Are
it
you
in.
guys generally happy with where it ended up?
Yeah, this is a cool restaurant, Eric. I know you thought we were like super upset at the outcome of the vote,
you
but
guys
no.
honestly looked
You may recall
distraught.
when you pitched
No, I was
this-
just thinking because as
when you
soon as
pitched
this
I
one
said,
was
this is
voted
a
for,
really
I was
cool
like,
idea.
Animal Kingdom, maybe.
Yeah, I think
No, it says
I think moving it to Animal Kingdom elevates the experience a lot. I think it's a cool, like it was.
yeah. Well, I really liked Brock's idea of being able to look out over the tigers.
yeah.
You know, like from balconies or whatever. That hadn't occurred to me until he said that. And I think that's a really cool.
Are there any
way to
primates
plus
in
it.
Animal Kingdom?
Yeah, there are.
Yes.
Yeah, so looking out over primates would also be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a monkey
Yeah,
enclosure.
or just
Yeah.
build it in the monkey enclosure.
There you go. That seems safe.
That does seem safe. And I do love poop being thrown at my body.
So does Brock.
Yes.
Every time he thinks about
We
King
know.
Louis, he
He
scats
literally
him to
says,
sleep.
"Scat
Oh,
him to
Jesus.
sleep."
Jesus.
I said I would take the high road. Knew that I wouldn't eventually.
He always comes back to the low road. You just gotta wait long enough.
I'm excited. I think this is cool. Thanks for helping me flesh this out, guys. Thanks
Thanks for
Even
pitching
though
it.
It was a wild ride getting there for my first win in 10 episodes, guys. Thank you so much. Feels good.
The real reason we needed to make sure this one went through.
I did notice I won last time, and so I was finally ahead of Eric, and then the world was like, no.
All right, Jake, take us to the lightning round.
All right. Well, on that note, let's lightening it up. Crash, boom, bang, baby. Where are my sound effects, guys? Come on.
Lightning round!
All right. That wheel is a spinning and. All right. This is an IP of Disney that we have not yet talked about on this podcast. We're going to be doing a roller coaster. I think we all know what a roller coaster is. We don't need to cover that. And the Disney IP to theme that roller coaster to is Disney Nature. Disney Nature being the branch of Disney that isn't. I know, but I'm elaborating in case our audience doesn't. Brock, you did look confused. It is the branch of Disney that covers Disney's nature documentaries.
Oh, nice.
I believe they had one about elephants last year. I think there was one about chimps.
This is the one where they killed all the lemurs in the 60s, right?
It wasn't lemurs, it was lemmings.
Lemmings, yeah.
That's where the whole lemming thing came from. That's not actually a real thing. Yeah. But yes, Disney Nature, the roller coaster. What do we got?
All right, Tanner's up first.
All right, coming to Disney's Animal Kingdom, a new Disney nature-themed attraction called the Jaguar, a super fast, high-speed roller coaster where we're going to be zipping around, attacking. We are the predator, and everyone else is our prey. It's a high-velocity thrill ride, and we add some fucking animal shit, but mainly it's just exciting as all hell. But we'll put Disney nature on it, so the line will be short for the first month until people realize how fucking sick it is.
Nice.
Nice. I like the marketing behind it too. Nicely done, Tanner.
That's good.
Disney hasn't had a lot of those roller coasters where it just yells at you about how intense it is.
We need one.
I believe I did.
Yeah.
I believe I did a lot of yelling about how intense my art park was going to be. Check out our New Year's episode.
All right, my roller coaster is the Flight of the Bumblebees. It's going to be one of those, you have your feet dangling coasters that's going to be painted black and yellow, and we're going to be chasing some pollen across a really sick, gnarly inverted track. There's going to be a couple loops, a couple corkscrews, with the classic song Flight of the Bumblebees being played in your ears at all times. Thank you, that is my pitch.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
That would be pretty sweet, right?
Yeah.
Brock.
Okay, so my pitch is going to be based on... based on the Disney Springs film Dolphin, the Disney nature film Dolphin Reef. So we are going to take the role of a dolphin, or perhaps we're riding on a dolphin, as we dart in and out and around reefs, coral, anemones, seeing all of the beautiful nature around us. It's probably going to be like an enclosed video projection tunnel where it feels like we're underwater looking at these different ocean life, all of the beautiful ocean flora and fauna. And going very fast.
I think my favorite part of Brock's pitch was when he first was like saying the name of the dolphin film and everything, and I could clearly see Wikipedia reflected in his glasses.
Excuse me, not Wikipedia. It's the Disney Nature website.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry.
Jake.
All right. So for my pitch, I'm going to kind of stay on theme with the rest of the episode. Disney Nature did a movie about chimpanzees. So I would like to take the roller coaster system that Disney talked about in the past. They're talking about maybe doing it for Spider-Man, where you feel like you're swinging and your feet are dangling. And we're going to be swinging through the treetops with the chimpanzees, and we'll see chimpanzee animatronics around us as we head through the treetops and have a fun little adventure swinging and learning about chimps as we go. I think that'll be exciting, and it'll be narrated by somebody. I don't know.
Chris Pratt.
I think the chimp movie was narrated by Tim Allen, but I couldn't remember,
Chris Pratt
so I lost steam.
another theme park spot.
Yeah.
Good job on the lightning round, guys. Those were all really good pitches. I don't think anybody really went off the rails. I think those were all.
I mean, Tanner didn't give a ton
exciting
of
pitches.
descriptive energy. I mean, a ton of like actual description other than it's fucking sweet.
It was good though.
But it was a good
I
presentation.
like the idea of a Jaguar coaster. Yeah. No, great job all
coaster is
around.
sick. I'm just saying, there's like 7
It was
seconds
nice
of
to have like
coaster
a.
and 23 seconds of this is awesome.
It was nice to have a solid lightning round, especially when we were all so hesitant when we first heard Disney Nature.
Yeah, it's cool. It fit, like roller coasters fit well to that theme. Like get on a fucking wild day
Yeah.
and go nuts, man.
Yeah.
Or as Brock would say, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brock, why don't you take us the fuck out of here?
Oh, ooby-doo, I want to be like our Facebook, Jake.
You mean Facebook.com/Main Street Musings?
Yeah, that's what I mean. And Tanner, what I desire is Man's Red Fire and also our Instagram.
You desire main_street_musings.
And I want to be a man, Eric, and stroll right into our Instagram. Twitter. I always get those two. This is Jake's fault.
He fucked it anyway.
This is Jake's fault. I was on a roll. What's our Twitter?
At MSM_podcast.
And I'm Brock. Everyone, make sure to give us a 5-star rating, review us positively, and tell your friends. Thank you.
Tell your friends to listen to this podcast right
There's
now.
not going to be any coleslaw at Eric's restaurant.
Listen. I'm going to bring my own in, so don't you worry about that.
There's going to be a coleslaw resistance building in Animal Kingdom.
Yeah. Viva la coleslaw!